Ogola. There have been concerns on his cause of death. Immediately, it wasn't very clear what caused the particular crash. President William Ruto has taken leadership and said there will be investigations. In fact, Kenya's government has sent a team to investigate the helicopter crash that killed Military Chief General Francis Ogola and other 9 gallant officers. It might be a long list to mention by name, but they're equally honored even on this show, and we stand with their families during this dark moment. However, if it was an issue of banditry in the north, in fact, the general was on his line of duty across that particular region, looking at the Maliza Uhalifu, program, and also other schools that were destroyed due to banditry. Are we learning this far? And I'm so advantaged to have key voices who are born from these areas and even now in leadership. Jamatia, thank you for creating time and just telling us progressively what has been happening. Because if you have grown up seeing this, talking about 10-year-old children having guns, but from where? In fact, you talk about marginalization. So we are imagining literacy levels are down, resources are not probably scarce, but they are fought over. So where do we get the extent of technology to even operate and access these guns? And if there's been anything done, why isn't anything moving to the point of now we have to investigate the general's death?
Thank you again. And I must say we are really mourning about our general, as much as he was doing a wonderful job by making sure Kenya is safe, as much as his main job is actually to take care of Kenya externally, and on aggression, external aggression is more on KDF. But it is because KDF has a station in the North Rift Belt. Because for the longest, we've had issues of banditry, that is the locals killing one another, maiming, displacing, and it has become a whole, ground of genocide, if you ask me.
Genocide?
Genocide,
you
exactly.
Like this to genocide.
Exactly.
Okay.
As much as we talk about the generals and the general and the officers of the army that died of the crash, are you aware that people in Kerio Valley region die every day? If I can tell you, we've most likely lost almost 500 people in the last few months because of banditry. And when every time I see and I look all of us as Kenyans talk about the Kerio as if it's a corner of the country, it's very unfortunate that as a member of parliament who have grown there, a victim of bandits, my family where I was born is actually a den of bandits. It is where bandits graze their cows today. Over almost 5 to 9 locations have been vacated by people with guns. This is a Kenya. These are people who push you out of your home and they live in your house.
You're a sitting member of parliament.
Exactly.
You have been vacated
exactly.
by the bandits.
Long time ago. Probably 6 years ago.
All right.
In areas called Harabal, it is so vacant now.
And you've never returned?
I've never returned.
Okay.
It's not possible to return. Sometimes we do peace caravans and all those kind of things. But again, the problem is that when I was campaigning, I campaigned on this platform and I said, to some extent, I think we need to, because government of the day then are not, protecting the people and their property, which is their right. I said, probably we need to buy guns and protect ourselves. I was arrested, but fortunately, I was part of the people who formed this government. It is the same thing. The only problem I have this time is that I am able to reach the people or the leadership because I am part of it. But the problem is there is a lot of ineptness. Specifically I want to talk about the security, internal security. I don't want to talk about the defense. The internal security of this country. We have given you intelligence. In fact, most of the bullets that kill these Kenyans are government bullets. The cartridges.
From the Eldoret,
it is GOK.
Specific.
We have NPR who have been deployed by government from the locals. Yes, We have GSU camps, we are RDU, we have all those stuff. Tell me, in this government, and this world of today, with intelligence, we have KDF, we have GSU, of everyone there. What is this that is making these people not still have illegal guns on their hands, while the presence of government is fully present? As we speak, in Baringo North, we have closed over 9 schools. The IG, after a very long time, push, crying, and asking for deployment, he went there the other day and say, no, schools are not closed. The children have followed their parents because of the bandits. Are you telling me today, naturally, these children are missing out in school. That is their rights violated. Mothers I meet women and mothers and people who are old telling me on the road, honestly, we cannot, even if you bring food to us, sometimes we give them food. I say, look, even if you give me food here on the road, where am I going to cook it?
Okay.
These are people who are living on the streets and on the centers. Number 2, we have, as leaders of the region, honestly, we have told the government to do what is possibly, humanly possible, to at least restore peace by making sure that they have collected all the illegal guns in the hands of these young people, especially the children. We have people who are,
How would the government know which house has the gun? Okay, have been called to surrender the guns. We followed closely from last year.
Let me put it in a very simple way.
You talked to these people on the ground.
Let me put it in a very simple way. When you're fighting drugs and everything, you don't kill the peddlers, because the peddlers can be recruited every day. You go for the barons, the owners of the game, the owners of the trade. It's the same thing. Unless you kill the beneficiaries, the people who make this trade, the presence of the gun every day. You cannot tell me a child who is probably 18 or less can walk all the way to Eldoret to pick some bullets. He doesn't know the place. These are people who have just gone in that village. So there are people who are known, and the government knows it. We have given names, and this is something that I will personally speak about every day, everywhere where I can get the opportunity. The number 2 is the marginalization of the area. Pastoralists naturally have vast lands and a lot of cows. If you talk about now in the epicenter in Tiati is where the attack is originating. The attack is on the side of Turkana, the Samburu. Everyone who's bordering that constituency most likely is a victim of attack. It cannot tell me, we go to wars out of this country and we deal with Al-Shabaab, for instance. That area is not, as a population, which is not more than 100,000 people. It is a place you can comb out properly. Just deal with it like the way you are dealing with illicit brews in this country.
All right.
The other day when we came to Parliament, we decided, the government of the day decided that they are going to deal with illicit brews. Resources were put aside. Every chief administrator was given a task to sort out this mess. If we can take that energy a bit, just a year, we will at least have the sizable, we will minimize a lot of insecurity. And that is why we will avoid, we will really avoid, in cases of a whole CDF and other people, probably in the future we'll have another CDF trying to go and cause a lot of harm. Number 2, there are people who bought the hand.
Honorable Jamache, you've gone beyond number 2. But I want to come back because I want to hear from Honorable Ruku. At some point you said that these particular members of parliament or leaders, elite you call them, in the region, have failed their people.
Yes.
You say they have not done enough. I'm not sure the judgment of the viewer listening to what is being said by the panelists this morning is not enough effort. And when you say there's some innovative ways that need to be brought in by the leadership in insecurity, even sitting as a member of parliament, you might be lucky, sir, not to live in these particular areas. But what level of innovation is required from what the the sitting panelists are speaking of right now. If these people are known, at some point a politician was even arrested when Kithure Kindiki began, but where did it end is a question that the viewer is asking me now to probe in at this point in time.
Thank you, Doris. As one of the leaders from our Kenya region, we decided that we have a problem of alcoholism in our region.
Yeah.
And we decided that the government of the day must help us in solving this problem of alcoholism. And all of us, we called upon the community and anybody involved in the trade and security issues to ensure this illicit brew, we are going to sort it out. And we are making a good progress as far as that is concerned.
What is the progress?
We are seeing, decrease in number of bars, because most counties have closed. Because we used to have bars even next to every village. Even in the village, we have 10 bars in an area where it's not even a market center. So all the bars in villages have been closed. Even in the market centers, the rule is there must be this number of bars. For instance, in my home area market center, Chicago Market Center, only 7 bars which are going to be licensed, And before we had more than 200 bars. So we are making a good progress as far as fighting the illicit brew is concerned. And I'm saying this is an innovative way where leaders are sitting down and agreeing that we have a problem here and we have to face it. We have a problem of insecurity in this region, in Baringo or in Kerio Valley region. The leaders from that area, they have to sit down and agree with the government of the day that we must all be involved and we must name whoever is in this trade. Listen, let me make my point. We named those who have been manufacturing this illicit brew, mixing of ethanol and methanol with water and calling it alcohol, which is a poison, making young boys to take poison on a daily basis.
You named them?
The entire region. We had a meeting in Chuka, we had a meeting in Nyeri. So it's the entire region coming together. So I think the entire region has to come together and agree that we have to move and solve this problem of insecurity in the area in a serious way and mention those who are.
How many times?
But you see,
Doris, can I come in?
You equally on this panel, Honorable Ruku,
yes.
With all due respect, mentioned that these people are known.
You said it.
But you see, if they are known in a scattered way, if scattered in the sense that there's no formal forum, for instance, composed of the president of the head of state or even the deputy president, is saying that this is your mandate to ensure this is going to be solved, because the mandate to kill alcoholism or illicit brew in our region has been given to the deputy president, including to ensure coffee, tea, and milk as attracting better prices in our community. That in our region, that was given the responsibility to the deputy president of the republic.
Can I
So
please
we
come in?
need- let me finish my point, Majima.
Yes.
Probably we need such a concerted effort. I have not seen it myself, where the government of the day is sitting down with community leaders, with elected leaders,
All right.
with business people, with elite, with professionals.
So whose failure is that?
So maybe that is what we need. Yeah?
Because
It's a video of each and
Because
everyone.
Daktari-
Yeah, from
involved
what
in
Ruku
this
is
process.
saying, I think what we need is just a simple. Maybe you need to add the issue of battery
Sorry?
you need to add battery to what the DP is doing, so that in addition to coffee, tea, this brew, you add the issues of baddies there. Because from what is happening, and I think what is happening
But
is
we have ministries and we have organs.
basically, I think what he's saying is
Yes.
you need that
Even
level, that
illicit
high
brews is
level
under the interior.
political goodwill, which I don't
Illicit
think
brews
my
is also
colleagues
under
here,
interior.
my colleagues are getting. And we can't have deputy presidents from more regions of this country at one point.
Yeah.
But you know what?
But if you look at this matter, you know the issue of illicit brew, we've been having it. It's actually a new development.
It's not only Mount Kenya region.
Not older than 5 years, up to 10 maximum. Issues of bandits.
Yeah.
We have been having this since independence.
Sure.
To me, the way I look at it is, while illicit brews might not be having beneficiaries at the high level of the government, the political class and all that, I think this issue of bandits benefits the political class of this country, who are placed at the highest level, and they handle. They block the issue from being sorted out. I remember at one point, Doris, although you might be young, if you remember, at one point, Doris, there's a time when there was talk in town that the army generals were actually selling these stolen animals.
Yeah.
At the river here.
It's documented.
There was that talk.
Was it concluded?
I don't know that it was concluded, but what we are saying is, this matter of bandits and cattle rustling, if you look at it, it's at a high level as compared to this issue of illicit brew.
You know, Doris.
And I think we really
Doris, I think,
No, Honorable Alcott, because the latest information, if we're to look at now the innovative ways, and I do not know if this 15 years,
that's what we need to
is
know.
there has been leaders who have said, create a unique ministry then to deal with this banditry. I don't know if you've heard of that. Do we need to go that far?
We don't have to. We don't have to. And
But there are voices from the north that suggested
but we don't have to. What saddens me is people who come to defend government for its failures, and they cannot even articulate that, like Honorable Ruku here. When Ruku, for example, says that I, Ekuru Aukot or Japatian here, must play a role as professional from that area, it doesn't expound what is that role exactly. And Honorable Japatian here, one time, because she saw our people being killed in Arabal, area of Marigat and Baringo North, you know, she said maybe because the government has failed, allow us to buy guns to defend ourselves. She wasn't wrong entirely. You know, that was a leader speaking out of frustration because she had been let down by a government when she can see our people being killed every day. And the law allows anybody to self-defend themselves. You know, that is the law. And what Honorable Jabatene was talking about is that self-defense is a right in law. Now, what Roko and others in government will not tell you that this so-called cattle rustling, which of course I wish they could even read the law. There is actually nothing called cattle rustling. Yeah. This is robbery with violence. You are taking away the property of another person violently on the barrel of a gun, in the process of which you cause manslaughter, you destroy property by burning, you kill, you commit murder, and the government has done nothing about it.
So it has nothing to do with culture?
It has nothing to do with culture. It is basically people who are breaking the law that the government of the day ought to enforce. Secondly, Doris, this is domestic terrorism. Terrorism has two limbs, international and domestic. People are terrorized every day. They are in fear because that's the whole essence of terrorism. You are scared. You know, will I be attacked? Will I do this? We get warnings. Be careful during public holidays, in this mall, in these social places. So this is domestic tourism. And if you are a government that's really sensitive, that knows how to solve the problem of these people, Chapter 14 of the Constitution of Kenya on national security provides a solution where the president can actually move parliament. And as I'm up here, there are 3 members of parliament. The president can actually move parliament and say to parliament, please allow me to use our military internally to quell any insecurity. You can read the entire chapter 14. You know, the president has that power to go to parliament and tell parliament, allow me to use the Kenya Army, basically our military, the National Defense Forces, but internally. And they are not to look at these so-called rustlers as an enemy combatant in the way we see it in international war. They will then be placed under the direction of the IG, the Inspector General of the Police, so that they don't bring military warfare into quelling a domestic dispute. That is not happening because we have people in government who are clueless, including members of the Kenya Kwanza administration like Roko here. Even when Jamaican is giving the other problem. Let me give you another problem. Why government is sleeping on this job and why government is complicit is a question of boundaries. If you look at the whole question around boundaries and administrative units,
overlaps.
Overlaps. They are being recreated. As I grew up in a village called Kapedo, and where I went also to school, I never heard of another Kapedo in Baringo. I never heard of another Silale in Baringo. They were created deliberately to actually create this so-called. And if you look at, for example, there's an MCA for a place called Silale. I think Silale West. There is even no population there. It's just created deliberately so that they can further this violence and this displacement of population.
The question would be, who is creating them? Because you're saying
it is government.
Like for instance,
honorable panelists, when you say government, this is not a particular administration. Kenya, since independence, with 6 years
I want to give a good
example.
example.
Government.
We are probably
let me just answer this.
Yes.
Government operates in perpetuity. And that's why sometimes I don't buy the nonsense, and excuse my French, that, this thing was under the previous regime of President Uhuru, and, today we are a new government. No. Government is in perpetuity,
right,
So these administrative boundaries are created on direction of the government. And these administrative boundaries and units are actually the cause of insecurity. That's why you will hear, in the midst of all this banditry, Kapedo belongs to us, Mount Sirale belongs to us, and therefore people go there with guns to displace the population that lives there. Let me educate Rocco. He asks us what some of us are doing. Right now, I'm doing about 2-3 petitions relating to, as a lawyer, by the way, not necessarily as a professional from that area, to try and address this question of the boundary between West Pokot. We are in Kapenguria High Court today debating that issue. We are in court in Laikipia. That's part of the reason why I have to leave this show very early, because I'm in court because of a boundary issues between the Turkana and the Samburu in Baragoi North. So we are doing all we can as professionals from that area. That's why we are reporting this issue, because we get intelligence. I get intelligence, Doris, every other day. And let me tell you, luckily for some of us, we have the telephone contacts of some of these individuals. Of course, people like Nakindiki Kithure do not pick calls anymore, even though they used to pick before.
We would want to ask the CS that directly.
Yes, but listen, Doris, I am reporting to you what some of us have done.
So you're saying that he does not pick your calls?
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to pick my calls.
All right.
And we go ahead and even send messages, send WhatsApp groups. We tell them, almost 2 years ago, I lost a sister cousin in a place called Napeyton. You must have seen that in social media. 2 days earlier, I actually remember sending a message to Kibicho, the then PS in Interior. And I told him, there is an imminent attack. This is the intelligence I've got on the ground. Please do something about it. True to our fear, we lost 7 police officers in Napeyton, together with civilians. And guess how my cousin's sister was killed? Because there was an attack, the police said, we don't have motor vehicle. She said, okay, I have a car. Get into my car. And she drove them. This is a civilian intervening on an insecurity. And because of that, she lost her life. She left very young kids. So when Rocco says we are not doing anything, then allow us to buy guns and defend our people.
Doris, let me respond.
And don't arrest us when we do that.
They have some serious allegations.
Yeah, briefly so that we can hear from
There's no allegation now.
On my part, as far as Ekuru is saying, I want to say this. One is that we cannot solve some of these challenges with the activism mentality. We cannot solve some of these security issues, security challenges we are facing, especially in that region, with activism mentality. That is what I want to inform
Perhaps
Dr.
you can give us an
alternative. The issue is, we have a government in place. We are committed in ensuring this problem is going to be solved once and for all. And
tell us how.
Personally, I talked to
how. Explain the how.
CS Kidiki, and I know he is on the forefront to ensure this problem is going to be solved.
How is he ensuring it? How?
Honorable Ruku, when Doris appeared before the government, he did give a number of presentations.
Yes.
As a member of parliament, were you convinced that we're headed anywhere?
When I listened to Ruku speak that the leadership of the region should sit down.
Yes.
But every time I see my cabinet secretary, Kindiki, fly himself to Baringo, and within a minute or two, a day or so, the same flare of attacks happen. And I am being accused that I am a leader and I'm not doing anything about it. I call him, he doesn't pick. I chat. He can reply one message probably after 2 days or so. I have no problem with that. The biggest problem I have is who are we supposed to call?
All right.
Who are we supposed to? I mean, who is supposed to help us?
Doris.
Another thing
Doris
I want to
is
talk
my
about.
elected members of parliament.
I want to talk about. Wait. No. I am in government. By the way, I am more in government than you.
Elected members of parliament.
Allow
Yes,
her
because I'm in Democratic
Let's
Party.
allow the
No, wait.
Elected members of
Roko,
parliament.
I am the one affected here. Why are you speaking on my behalf?
You may
Let me
not
speak
be
for
in
myself.
UDA, but you're more UDA than even UDA members.
There's a problem here, and I'm speaking like this because I want solutions. I want solutions because I want someone who is supposed to be doing his job to do his job, or to do their jobs. I want the IG today, Koome, to step up and do exactly what he's supposed to do. He should make sure that internal security in this country is at its best. A Kenyan should not be sleeping away from his home because of attacks that people are doing, and these are Kenyans. The IG doesn't move out of Nairobi. He doesn't. He doesn't. I have seen him once.
To that extent.
The whole this year I've seen him once in Baringo. Once. And
Does that then justify that he does not go anywhere else?
He doesn't. And because
there's an emergency, Doris.
you see, when people are killed and people are running away from their homes, what do? What is it that is so important in your office in Nairobi that you can't step out of that office and actually rescue the situation in those areas? It is a whole belt from Kerio to Turkana. Everyone is complaining.
Even as we're speaking of the north, because we're about to conclude, we still have femicides. Homicides who are killed in Airbnb.
Exactly.
So it's an insecurity landscape.
It is an ineptness.
Doris is this. I think we say he's aware of the shoe who knows where to pinch his. And that's why I really want to agree with my colleagues. You know, when Ruku talks, you tend to imagine what he's imagining, because on a serious note, these are the wearers of the shoe. They live there, and I think what we are saying in simple terms: enough is enough. We don't want to continue losing more lives.
It's not about government.
Whether it is through what you are calling feminicide,
it is about the people.
What you are calling the work of the internal security docket. And I said it is constitutional provision that one of the cardinal responsibilities of any government is to provide security to our people.
Exactly.
And if it can't, it has no social morality. It has no reason to govern on a serious note. So, to me, the way I look at it, let's not really make this thing look like it's just a casual discussion.
Or an attack on the government.
This is a very, very serious matter. And any Kenyan, whether you're in the government or you're out of government, would want to see any Kenyan. We don't want to see any life lost. And that's what we are saying, including what we have just been discussing. Any life is important.
And Doc, while you're at it, Doris, just allow me 1 second, Doris. While you're at it, I also detest the simplicity within which Roko is comparing people who are drinking changa and busa during their leisure time with lives being lost in northern part of Kenya.
And that's been lost from changa also.
Yes,
but that is someone who has gone and
that's by choice.
This is by choice, Doris. I decide to leave my house to go and pick a sherehe, feel happy. I drink myself silly. This is a path. You're talking about people fighting for their livelihoods, being scared, being shot at, being killed, their property being taken. You know, and I think for me that comparison is completely simplistic.
And let me say this. Actually, the truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, this is very deliberate marginalization of those areas. Absolutely. Because kids are not going to school. Where will you take people who don't go to school in Kenya? Where will you place them in the future?
Are delivering on the road. Women, exactly. And as you speak, the Ministry of Health used to have the NHIF, the SHF now, which is being proposed in July. We used to have a kitty called Linda Mama. Are you aware that women who go to deliver today, I speak for my women in Baringo, they cannot access those kits. These are very poor women, thrown out of their homes, changing their underwears on the road. Honestly.
You know,
and we have a government that we want. I always say.
I want him to respond.
No. Wait. I'm saying.
All right.
I will defend the government because I am in government. But the smallest unit of government is the voter. So there is no government minus this person. We are thinking that we are defending the government on his behalf. So we must defend the person first. And for me, as much as we do everything, we need to go back and retrospect
Doris,
through the internal security and do the work.
Doris, a community
Yes.
gets leaders it deserves.
Absolutely, I agree.
The leaders of every community is at the deliberate move by that community to give themselves the kind of leaders they have. I will say it again and again. The leaders of that region, they have failed the people,
How?
and more
What are
so
they
the
supposed
people of
to
the
do?
Republic of Kenya.
All right.
And I have a reason why I'm saying this.
Yes, please.
As a elected member of parliament, I know I have the intelligence of each and every village
we have
of
given them.
my constituency.
I have.
The MCAs elected, they do have the same intelligence of each and every constituency. It is upon the elected leaders of that community to, because if it's about 100,000 people, you mean you can't be able to know so and so, so
We
and so,
have
so and so?
given the names. I can
We
read it to
have.
you.
It's
I
not
have
a
given the
question-
names.
It's not a
Doris,
question of
Doris,
just giving
I have
names.
to go.
It's not a
I have to
question
go
of
to
just
court.
giving names. It's
Okay.
a question of
You
giving
know-
names
you know-
and ensuring
Yeah.
action is
Doris,
taken and things
Doris,
are,
my
action
colleague.
is taken
Jonathan,
and those
I
people
have
are
to leave,
taken
but I want
to
to say one thing last.
to court. They are arrested. It's not just giving names. You should be able to take action and make
By
a
doing
follow-up.
what?
Lynch them publicly?
All right.
Listen, because I have to
remember
go. 'cause
to
I've-
keep it
Yes.
respectful for the
Yeah,
viewers.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but because I have to go.
Your closing
to
remarks,
court.
Secretary.
Let me do
Okay.
this. If there is anything sensible that I've had today from Roku, yeah, anything sensible, is what he has just said. That any society deserves the kind of leaders that they elect, not just necessarily at that small unit of community level, but also nationally. What he is saying and is admitting is that the kind of leaders that we elect in our country today have actually failed the people of Kenya. 60 years down the line after independence, we were told that independence that will eradicate disease, ignorance, and poverty, and that we will secure your property, will protect them. That hasn't happened. So, with the same vein, same token, the fact that you blame people like Jebatian, saying that now it is the same people who are suffering, who are being killed every day, who elected her, because that's what you are saying, and that she has failed because those people elected her, maybe a feckless, weak
I'm
leader.
also saying you as a professional.
Yes, I'm
from
not
that
elected.
area, and a read from
I
that
am
area,
not elected.
a leader, a party
I am-
leader,
and I've
you
just-
should be in a position
and I've
to
just-
cover
and I've-
critical,
and I've just
serious
told you-
solutions
and I've-
for
you
the
know-
problem.
you know-
You schooled in
you
Kapedo.
know-
So what are you
Gentlemen,
giving
it
back
is
to the
almost
society?
inaudible.
Rocco,
No.
you're a newcomer into politics from the way I see it. I know you tried first, you failed. Now you've come for the first time as a member of parliament. You are sucking up too much to the system, and you're not actually addressing the real issues that we are putting on the table. And those real issues are these. People in northern
Tell us
Kenya
what
and
you have done in
Baringo.
Kapedo. You are school. Where are you?
You know
in
why I'm
school?
leaving this show early? I'm leaving this show early to go and defend a boundary dispute between the Turkana and the Pokot on the one hand and Samburu and the Turkana on the other hand.
At the corridors of justice.
At the corridors of justice, because that dispute over administrative boundaries and corridor is what is causing conflict. You will go to parliament today, sign up in some small little committee there, earn your allowance, and do nothing, and say, come here and lie to the people about the problems the people are going through. I am doing the real thing that I'm trained for as a lawyer, and of course I'm adding my voice, like Jebatina say, can confirm to you. We have reported. I've spoken to almost all the ministers of interior, PSs of interior. I remember from Joseph, the guy, the first IG after the independence, Boynet. We've spoken to all of them. We've spoken to everybody. What more do you want us to do? Do you want me to take up
wants
guns?
to take a gun and go on the
and defend?
front line.
When Chebatiania, just out of frustration, said, you know what, maybe it's time for us to buy our own guns and defend our people. What happened to her? She was arrested. What more do you want us to do as a professional?
Your closing remarks.
But why are we desperate?
My closing remarks are this. My closing remarks is this. Rocco has made a very fundamental point, which is that the leaders we get is a reflection of the kind of society that we have.
Yeah.
And that cannot only be restricted to that small unit there at the community level. Let's go up all the way. Why is it that after so many years, and especially like Honorable Makali said here, that in the budget committee, they see the amount of money that they actually allocate to this internal security. But we are not seeing any result. We are not getting any value for money. We have got a CDF who just got killed the other day because of a 40 plus or a 60 plus old chopper. We are not putting our money in the right places to protect our country. I think the truth for the matter is we have a failed governance structure in this country. The system is producing the worst of the worst, including people who come to these public shows to defend government without any tangible evidence. It's unfortunate. And I pity my friend Roko here that I know it's difficult to defend this government, especially because of the promises they make, but which they are not doing. But for me today and Jabatia, we are giving you real-time information, what is happening in our backyards, our neighborhoods, and what we have done as professionals in terms of intervention. This hasn't happened. People continue to die. People continue to lose property. I think going forward, can we at least be serious?
All right.
If we cannot stop the lying, at least let's reduce the lying.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Ekuru Aukot, who is the party leader of Third Way Alliance and also advocate of the High Court of Kenya. He's leaving us, but we appreciate your time.
Thanks.
For being here and just speaking to us, at least giving us a first-hand experience of what is happening in Turkana. The boundaries, in fact, even an IBC does not exist at this point in time. I'm not sure you already, reviewed the boundaries. We hit the timeline, extended it. There's some lack of seriousness, according to Dr. here. I want us to listen to the soapbox as we release Dr. Ekuru Aukot. And today we draw our museum from, and of course part of our soapbox, from Moody Arthur Awori, commonly known as Uncle Moody, who is a former Kenyan politician who served as the 9th Vice President of Kenya from, to be more specific, 25th September of 2003 to the 9th January 2008. He's also the author of Riding on a Tiger, on the autobiography about his life politics. Let's look back a bit in history on the museum.
Siku ya leo tunaanza enzi mpya ambayo sasa tutaanza kupumka katika hewa safi. Tunaanzisha hewa safi ambayo italeta uongozi, sio utawala. Tumetawaliwa kwa miaka hii yote 25 na wananchi wanasema utawala ni imla, ile tunayotaka ni uongozi. Na sote tunakubaliana kwamba Rais Mwai Kibaki ataongoza nchi yetu ili sote tuweze kufanikiwa. Lakini nataka kuonya jambo moja wananchi. Tunasema tumeshafaulu. Tunasema tumeshashinda uchaguzi. Na hii itaweza kufanya watu wengine kukaa nyuma kitako wakifikiri tumeshafaulu. Tusahau hiyo. Kutoka leo mpaka tarehe 27, kila mmoja wetu akiwa ni mama azungumuze na bwana yake, akiwa ni mtoto azungumuze na baba, kumkumbusha kwamba tunataka kuondoa utawala ambao umekuwa ukizorotesha uchuzi wetu na maisha ya wananchi.
Just looking at feedback also on YouTube, one of the very outstanding ones, or pretty much the ones that have caught my attention, is Hassan Mohammed saying, point is to educate them to stop robbery, and killings are against, of course, God's commandments. Someone here says, how do they get religious education when they barely have basic education and houses to live in? So Kenya is actually talking on this matter, saying they've illegally closed all bars, in fact, in as far as Ruku, this is a comment coming to you, that you have illegally closed all bars, and that is where the ground will get them all out. There's different people coming in here to just say some of the things we're speaking here are not relating with the Kenyans. But Honorable Jamatia, because you started this 6 years ago. Yeah. All right. If we saw the CDF going to that extent, questions are, why did he go there? You are, I stand to be corrected, in this panel, shedding some light on why someone would have to choose to go an extra mile beyond their job description for Kenyans. Are you agreeing that there are people in positions that are not working, or we have a rotten system that seemingly Kenyans need to choose whether to live with or to go, according to Honorable Ruku, more innovative about?
I would be very candid. and I'll speak my mind. Why we lost the CDF is because, for me, I think he was humane, and he has a lot of intelligence that many people have been killed within the Kerio Valley belt. And the warrant killings and the insecurity was getting out of hand. And if you, to put straight to your question, whether there are people who are not doing their job, it is true.
But the last speech we heard of, or what we heard, is that he was commending his people. He was on the ground for doing a good job.
Because the KDF there is doing, what the KDF is doing mainly is to rehabilitate the schools that were caused by, So that is the main thing they do. And probably because they cannot interfere with the police, you see. But you see, the work of the police as internal security docket is very well cut out. They are supposed to be the day-to-day people. As much as it's not very possible to have police in every village or every center, but there's a way the intelligence gives information. And when you don't arrest those intelligence, like for instance, I can send you a clip later.
All right.
Of almost 30 or barely 20 men, everyone with a gun, singing across Chemolingot, in the center. Everyone is a gun. We have the presence of all the armies and everyone, all the policemen. Why do you even want to ask, for God's sake, where these, the warriors are coming from? They're just in the village, and you have been always there. The biggest problem I have is the reports that we get and the things we go through is the bullets that kills the Wananchi. It's government bullets. And that is where the ineptness for me comes from. The lesser fairness and lack of putting proper, serious effort to end this thing. Number two, where do we sell these goods? If you drive 50 to 100 goods today from a village, where is it going? Where is it going? Because these are not chicken that you can lock them in a house. Are you telling me the government cannot retrace this? Even if they trace, who is this person? We have given names of people to be arrested. They have never been arrested. So sometimes I look so desperate, and I really want to. If you listen to my conversations, I've not mentioned the president here.
Okay. Because
the president has given people duties to do the work. The only problem probably is he is not following up to see whether these duties is giving out probably to the IGs and the rest, and the Kindikis is not working.
Okay.
And that way, the buck stops now at him. And that is why he will be so much exposed, even when we have a CDF dying today because of doing duties that's supposed to be, ideally, an internal security work.
How do you explain the government bullets?
Doris, I think the thing is, from what Chamatia is saying, even though she doesn't mention the president, the truth of the matter is the buck stops at the president's door. Because he's the appointing authority. And we have discussed this matter many times in this show. We are saying, for example, we're discussing the issue of the doctors' strike. Where we have a cabinet secretary in charge of that. We have been discussing the issue of the road accidents all over the place. Where we have a CS who has been mandated to do that. Now we are discussing security here, where we have a CS in charge of that. And the appointing authority is the president. Yeah. So this is what we are saying. At the end of the day, if you give me a job and I'm not doing it correctly or as per your expectation, you have two choices. Either you redeploy me or you sack me. So that you get somebody else who can come and pick up the thing. And I think from what I'm hearing from this desk, including yourself, Doris, is that matters in security in this country have not been addressed to the expectation of Kenyans. Yeah. In my own county, Kitui County, we have been talking about the southern part of that county. We have the bandits in the camel, others who are always fighting our people by pushing their camels to our land, and there's a lot of conflict. So this matter of insecurity in this country is all over the country. And we are saying time has come when as a country we must put security matters first. Why am I saying that? Because insecurity leads to loss of life. We've lost our old general, as a result of insecurity, internal insecurity. How many other generals do we want to lose before we sort out this matter? How many other Kenyans do we want to kill before we get, and even if it is business on a serious note, I mean, there should be some alternative businesses which can be done to earn the same income other than this one of cattle rustling where people are dying. So we are saying this government, and let's call a spade a spade. The head of this government is President Ruto. It's not Makali Mulu, it's not Chamatia, it's not Honorable Ruku. It is President Ruto. So any inefficiencies in this government, any ineffectiveness in this government will be associated to the topmost office. More so, where the people in charge of those offices are people who have been operating on a delegated authority from the head of the state. Because all these ministers are operating on delegated authority from the head of state. He's saying, I trust you, you are my trusted general, go and serve in this capacity. I trust you, go serve in this capacity. So if they are not meeting the expectation of that capacity, then simple mathematics. Get them out of office, and I think that's what Chamatia has been saying. It's been very consistent, saying from where she sits and what her people are going through, she thinks IG. And I don't think he's thinking. The reality of the matter is the IG has not operated up to the expectation of that particular region. And as Kenyans, we can't be talking about insecurity in this northern Kenya part for our whole century. We almost get to a century now. It's not fair to Kenyans.
Honorable Ruku, because as the president said, he will not allow in his watch that assassinations would happen, extrajudicial killings would happen. What do you amount to the banditry and the century of lives being lost in the north, in the rift? Honorable Chamatia here, in fact, likened it to genocide. Is the president fully aware? Of course, you can't speak for him, but you said you, of course, speak as a voice in Kenya Kwanza. If all these things set on the table are things that have reached the president, he is the commander-in-chief, and he has said it shall not be done under his watch, then at this point in time, Honorable Ruku, we don't need a child, an elderly person, or whoever it is dying because of banditry.
Yeah, you are completely right. I think there are a number of things which need to be done as quickly as possible. If there is a proof that these bullets are coming from Eldoret bullet manufacturing factory, then there should be a serious restructuring as far as that factory is concerned. Whoever is in charge of that factory needs to be sacked, and not only sacked, but also he needs to face some kind of or full force full force of law. It's a military establishment. You need to face a martial court to answer difficult questions, how these bullets are finding their way to their verdict. You need to answer those questions. Whoever is in charge, and if the bullets used by these guns, this verdict, come from our own factory in Eldoret, which is manned and managed by Kenyan military, then he need to step aside, he need to resign, he need to be fired, he need to be prosecuted for that. So there are quick wins or quick things which we can fix as a government.
All right.
And I hope those in positions of the minister in charge of defense, the minister in charge of security, or even National Security Council should be able to answer some of these questions correctly. If the leaders from that area are saying that bullets are coming from our own factory, then we need to restructure that as quickly as possible. And I will call upon,
when was this revelation brought forth on the company?
Several times.
All right, because from what Honorable Chamatia is saying, it's not new.
It's not new.
That the bullets have been coming. You speak as though it is new to you right now.
Yes.
That this is coming from.
Then if it is not new and we have evidence, what we need to do as the members of parliament, tomorrow we can move a motion of adjournment to discuss.
We just moved a motion of adjournment on Thursday.
To discuss the factory, the manufacturing factory of the bullet. Once we do have a motion of adjournment specifically discussing the factory manufacturing bullets in Kenya, then the entire government we will be keen to listen to what is actually happening. And whoever is in charge of that factory will be in a lot of problem, I can tell you. If we do a motion of adjournment tomorrow, discussing about
we did a motion of adjournment, you know.
Sorry?
I want to agree with you that we can do that very well. And but again, as you know, the discussion about banditry. We did a motion, adjournment motion on, I think on Wednesday, on Tuesday, this week, and we talked about it last week, and it was brought in by Honorable Sarah Korere. And those are the things that we actually put on the floor. Of Laikipia. We discuss it throughout.
All right.
And let me tell you, even before we eat, these are things that I think government has enough structures that they can know if people are being killed every day, like for instance in Nairobi, they will even know the type of the guns these thugs could be using. So there is killings every day in the region, in North Rift. The bandits are using AK-47. And if the government knows that they are manufacturing bullets that suits AK-47, why is it in place? For instance, those are intelligence that should be probably outright. And number two, in part of the solution for me, for eradicating most of these things, so that we can move forward. Yes, okay. We need to do serious demarginalization of that place. That place has been marginalized for enough. So the region has lost, or the people have lost their livelihoods, specifically cows. Can we take a step forward and reintroduce a paradigm shift, specifically creating new ventures into irrigation? We have Lake Baringo water, that is a whole freshwater lake. The government should take the opportunity, and through the Ministry of Water Irrigation, they should just pump that water out, and do proper irrigation to mitigate, the livelihood of the people. Number two, build schools and roads, opening up the place.
They're building schools and they're destroying the same schools.
Exactly.
Where does this leave the government?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
As long as you don't stop the banditry as the act of people, many people will always not be able to. Children not go to school because of insecurity. Let me tell you, one gun in the village can terrorize everyone. One gun. So if you have several guns, like in a whole center or a whole community, and you have people working freely with guns, and these are things that government see and they know. Number two, because the bandits use AK-47, can we restructure and make sure that the police or whoever is in the officers using the same guns, so that they don't intercheck? Probably there are ways they are exchanging these bullets. They should also change the type of guns they're using, like G3 fully, that or they can ban all the AK-47 in this country, so that we reintroduce another type of guns that these people cannot access anymore. Because as long as there's no source of bullets, these things are not going to be working. It's just like having a tool that you are not using.
But do they only use bullets then to take lives in this situation? No other weapons?
The weapons are there, but if you don't have the bullets, you can't use the gun.
All right.
Yeah, so the bullet is essential. Number two is the government of the day, exactly, as with leaders of the region, should work closely. What used to happen during the Boynet's time and the others is that the office of the president, which used to be a domicile fully on internal security, now you've seen the AIE holder is the IG, which is becoming another problem. I think there's a lot of complaints. I don't want to speak for, from sources that I'm not privy so much, but the officers are saying even the allowances are not remitted in time. They don't get fully sufficient rationing and all those. So the welfare of the officers who are in operation zones are not being taken care of. And I want to probably, say, this thing moved from the office of the president. It is now under office of the IG, which is fully, and that is why when I say the IG is not doing his work, is because he is the fully, older. Is the one who is in charge.
Thank you.
Even with the budget. Lastly, we need to minimize the porous, the management of the porous borders, because unless we do the borders properly and help the leadership in the place to interact and create other activities, that is definitely going to give us a better chance to end this menace.
Thank you very much. I think I allowed that much of time because she comes from there.
No, she comes from there. That's why we've given her a lot of other time today.
Yes, but you'll share
But just to sum it up, I think what we need for this particular problem of insecurity is to map up all the key stakeholders on this matter. And
hasn't this been done before?
I'm sure it might have been done or not. Like from what she's saying, you can see there are gaps, and there is the kind of the silo mentality to the approach that the departments are just going on their own. I wish they could map all the stakeholders, have a round table including the leaders from the region, and agree on what would be a workable solution to this matter. Then the other thing is, as I said earlier, you know, insecurity will discourage a lot of other things. It will discourage education for the young people, investment, and all these things. So if we want to have this area grow also like other areas of Kenya, let's take this matter seriously and sort it out. But before I conclude, I think the weatherman has already warned us that we expect a lot of rains in this country, and specific regions have been singled out for excess rains. I think let's not play games with water this time.
All right.
Because it's going to be very dangerous from this. Let's all be cautious. Let's warn our people that even as you drive around the country, as you walk around, we'll be very cautious.
Thank
matters rains.
In fact, there's a lot of lightning where I come from yesterday.
Yes.
I felt a bit of shock.
Yes.
Let me hear from Honorable Ruku. Your closing remarks are in, unfortunately, 30 seconds.
Thank you, Doris. We have a government which is committed to solving these problems. We have seen from the start of this government things were not working, and we are happy that what we were discussing in the first year is not what is on the table as far as the economy, as far as the prices of commodities, fuel, sharing, etc. We are now more focused in internal issues such as insecurity, and if this government has gotten it right in the previous discussion, even this will be solved in the course of time.
Thank you.
I'm sure it will be sorted out.
Thank you very much. Just giving an assurance that he is sure that this particular administration in this government will sort this out. I want to appreciate you all for sending in your feedback, but first, Dr. Makali Mulu, who is Member of Parliament at Kitui Central, for being here. Honorable Jematia Sergon, who is Woman Representative Baringo, for creating time and also sharing personal experience in what you're doing. Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, Member of Parliament Mbeere North, who equally also brought in and weighed in on this matter, also saying he has done quite something in the central, but would wish this is replicated in the north. We were earlier on joined by Dr. Ekuru Aukot, a party leader, Third Way Alliance, but he left earlier on. But even as we close this,